Do you all swear that this is a good game?
I mean,
Do you? Answer!
I don't know, let's review it. This is the review for the board game Oathsworn Into the Deep Wood.
By the end of this video, you will know if this game is for you.
We have 6 burning questions that we will answer in this video, but before we do that, what is this game all about, Giannis?
It's about farming and going to the woods and chopping some woods and... No,
Is
wait,
it really?
chopping... What?
Did you play this game or Farm Simulator?
Cut! In this game, you are the Oathsworn that have sworn to uphold their oath. What is the oath? To protect the humanity from the monsters that roam the world. Because this is pretty much a it's something bad happened and then the world ended and this is what happened afterwards.
The bad thing that happened is actually the deep woods. The woods spread out and took over almost the world, except few cities where still humanoids live.
And you as the Oathsworn protect those cities and are called from one to another and basically fight huge monsters that threaten that city. And the first monster you're gonna fight is gonna be this, and we're not gonna show you any other because that would be spoiler territory. And that's even worse than the Deepwood territory.
This game is split into 2 parts, the story part and the encounter part. First of all, you will need to finish a story set in the city usually, where you have to just travel to different places, solve a mystery, and make choices. It usually happens in the app, or you can actually use the journal if you don't want to use mobile phone while playing this game. But the most important thing is the encounters. When you finish the story, you go to Deepwood and have fights there with your Oathsworn, and you fight against the big monster, and you have to defeat it by removing all its hit dice over there, and when you do, you win this scenario. Or you can lose if you lose all of your Oathsworn. Then you finish 1 chapter and there's 20-ish chapters in the game.
So how do you actually do both of these parts? The first one, the story is simple. You move from encounter to encounter, you read what the encounter is, make a choice, and maybe do some dice checks.
Usually it will say, hey, here you see a building where there is an old lady. This old lady gives you bread. Do you take it? Yes or no, Giannis?
Of course, yes.
Then you die.
No. You do a dice check and then see if you die.
The results will either give you some tokens that you will then later use in the encounter, or will remove some hit points, or maybe something more interesting happens. Kinda the story sets you up for the second part, the encounter part.
Then in the encounter part of the chapter, you're actually gonna move around the board and fight the baddie. Or baddies. You're gonna roll dice or draw cards to attack. You're gonna see what the monster does. You're gonna use your own special abilities because each character is distinctly unique, and essentially try to defeat the monster before it knocks out all of your Oathsworn.
Before it lays eggs.
And so essentially, I can go, you can go, I can go again, you can go, until pretty much so we either decide that we're not going to go anymore, or we spent all our animus, which is essentially your action points that you can spend on different things.
Each round you refresh your animus, which means you get new action points and use that to play cards, or move, or do any special actions.
If you play a full character, then you get your own deck of cards. And each card, when you play, is placed in a certain place around your board. And all the other cards already there are then moved 1 step backwards. So they're kind of on a cooldown, and the cooldown slowly is running out. And once it reaches the 0, you will get it back into your hand.
So how any checks happen in encounter phase or story phase is by you rolling dice or using cards. You can choose to do whatever. If you want to roll 3 dice, you can also draw 3 cards. Cards are provided for more balanced experience, but dice is always fun. You can roll however many dice you want to roll. For example, if you want to do a test with difficulty 4, that means you need to get a result of 4, you can even roll 10 dice, and it seems that it would be so easy to get those 4 points. But the tricky part is that whenever your roll has 2 blank sides on any dice, you automatically fail that test.
Wow. And there are many tokens that let you mitigate the rolls. You can re-roll, you can roll more, you can upgrade dice. It's really, really nice system.
And we're gonna talk a lot more about this game in this video, so we should jump to the first question, which is...
Who would you buy this for?
2, 1...
That's like the first time we've matched them. Who did not like Gloomhaven?
Did not like, interesting. Well, I actually would say if you're done with Gloomhaven, meaning you finished all the levels and you want actually something similar yet different, then this will give you very similar feel with the encounter phase and fighting yet give much more story and personality to the game, which I really, really loved about it.
This actually I'm basing on myself. Can we say that on a board game channel officially? I think it's time. I did not like Gloomhaven that much.
Like, it was really okay for me.
That's a good way of saying you did not like it, but that's okay. No, that's okay.
I did not like it.
Yes, again. But this, like you said, same vibes, right? There are characters, it's a little bit dungeon crawler.
With little bit you mean a lot, like 70% of it.
That's what I meant. But it's just like you said, it has more personality.
This is a dungeon crawler at its best.
You like Gloomhaven, but you don't want to play Gloomhaven. You did not like Gloomhaven and don't want to play. Maybe this then. What are the 3 best things about this game? The combat, minus the movement. We'll talk about that in the next segment. But I find it very unique, very different with each character. They feel distinctly different, more than any other game I've played recently. And yet, this is the best part about the combat, is the dice. You roll as many as you want, but if you roll 2 blanks, you're gonna fail that shot.
Dice and card flow. There's tons of decisions in simple dice rolls, which is fun. The rolling is fun. Seeing if there are 2 blanks is painful yet fun. And criticals as well. It just feels really good to get extra dice. And the card flow is quite interesting. Character design. And with this I mean the good guys and the bad guys with their actions and how they work. It has personality. I feel like that's because of the story as well. Because there's a wind-up before you get to that guy, and there's almost like this backstory why you are fighting.
And that kind of leads me into my second one, which is customization. This is the first game ever that I've seen where you can customize the rules, kinda. Hey, you want less random but still exciting? Use cards, don't use the dice. Yep. You want more random? Use the dice, no problem. Hey, you don't want to play the whole card flow, many abilities kind of character? Great, use the companion. It's simpler, quicker, yet very unique. And you can pick and choose your playstyle. You lose an encounter. You can replay it if you want to, or not. That's your choice. You can mold this game, as long as obviously you're fine with Dungeon Crawler, into what you want it to be.
Last thing is mystery and choices. My favorite thing is actually did you mention? No, you did not mention yet.
I didn't mention, but I'm just gonna add my first.
No, you will mention. Okay, just the mystery. While playing through the story, I feel excited to know what's going on. It's really, really well written.
Yes, the writing is super amazing, but I think you must use the app. I think the actor is really good.
But like reading the journals would be fine as well if you don't want to use the app.
Yeah.
And most things where the story will lead you to will be extra tokens or health points or something like simple things. Yet these choices feel cool and important.
Exactly.
I love the story part a lot, and that's I think my favorite part.
I've played games where choices matter.
Yeah.
And this is a game where choices matter a little bit.
Yeah.
But I feel more invested in this one. Why this game might not be for you?
First of all, if you don't have a lot of space, this one is obvious. The box is very huge. Also, if you get the miniature package, it's another box just as big.
Yeah.
Right down here, not very important.
No.
But we have to start somewhere.
I think that's actually the only real negative for me, is the movement rule. This game has a specific movement rules where if you're not sure, it follows like the northwest kind of rule. Can't go there, then it will first try to go north. If not, then it goes west. In theory, it sounds super clean. If it can't go there, then it will go north. If it can't go north, it will go west. Especially at the beginning, I felt like I think it goes there, but I am not 100% sure it does.
Well, I wrote down messy combat. And that was one of those things why I thought it's a messy. I didn't like the map. It's so like colorful, so many things there. And when you have to place down, for example, this tree, I'm just guessing where the hell is going.
No, that's super easy. You see the skull?
Yeah.
Then it's 2 spaces north, then 2 spaces west, then 1 north, 1 west. Then you have to look for this snake thingy, then 1 space north, east, west, and it's right there. You place it.
Easy.
Wait. No way, it was not there.
Exactly.
It gets better. Is that a good thing that you get used to it? Should you get used to it? It's not super intuitive, is what I'm gonna come down to. Difference in characters. So yes, we mentioned they're super different, and they are like ranked by the difficulty of playing them. It goes from 1 to 5 stars. And I, as a real gamer, went in for 4-star character on my first run through, and I felt like I'm not doing anything. Even if you're a gamer when starting out this, take the easier characters. You can switch them out easily afterwards, just to get the basic flow and feel good about yourself.
And my last thing is leveling up, because I feel like just as character progression, there's not a tons of. You get new cards once in 5 chapters. If you're into these games to like upgrade and progress with your character, this might not be a thing.
Well, you get tokens.
Yeah.
You get tokens. Then depending on well, you don't get a lot.
Other thing is these characters tend to be quite tricky to get at the hand of, because they are really well made and interesting. So you want to play the same cards kind of get used to and get better yourself, not make the character better. So it's kind of fine. It's just, it's not for you if you're looking for something where you can level up a lot and feel good about that. No, it's not gonna be here yet. You will get better at this.
How long is the honeymoon?
2, 1. Will the combat keep you interested? The story mode is fantastic. It will keep your attention, guaranteed. The combat might feel samey.
Maybe.
You might like it for 3-4 scenarios. 51 could be like...
I think it all comes down to how you feel exciting the different bad guys are. For me, it's long, but in a good way. You can play in multiple difficulties, you can play multiple characters, and this is all just the base game we're talking about. There's like 20 chapters, right? What's the best alternative?
3, 2, 1. Gloomhaven plus Destinies.
Is there such a game?
This one.
Nice. Clearly, like I said, Gloomhaven's not the best alternative, so I went with something totally different than the original. Seeing what Frosthaven adds and improves upon Gloomhaven, so I feel that it's gonna be closer to something like here.
The story part really gave us Destiny feels.
Okay.
The just choices that matter, but really at the end of the game it leads you anyways in this direction. The gory stuff and just general theme feels similar.
Like dark
theme. So this combo really well explains what this game is. If you have played both of these, then you kind of already know what this can provide.
What is the final rating?
Ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Really
Really.
Good.
We don't have such a rank.
No, we have. I like almost everything about this game. This is especially the story. It's really interesting and fun.
It's really,
however many really's good, and I find it fantastic. As soon as we went to the encounter phase, I like many of those things, but just the messiness felt that it's just really good for me. And I realized that maybe dungeon crawlers is not that big in my house, I guess. That's a good argument. Yeah, I agree. Well, then, in that case, it's fantastic.
Yes. Exactly. Good thing I prepared this time. But this is what I wanted Gloomhaven to be. When I went into Gloomhaven, I was so excited. And it was just okay. I don't hate Gloomhaven, right? I just don't like it. Going into this, I had high hopes, and I really liked it. It was fantastic, and now it's a must-have. The minis version is not something I would like to have. I think this one, the standees, for my house, because in my house, I'm not big on dungeon crawlers that don't fit in my shelf, and this is the extent of what does, and it's a must-have for me. I'm super excited. I haven't finished the whole campaign yet, but I'm super excited to do that. I totally agree with the story part, but I also like the combat. I like how you can make it as simple as complex as you want. I don't mind not having to level up as much, because I feel like I still need to figure out how these characters work without getting extra stuff. Yes, the movement rule is confusing, but I feel like I'm getting grasp of it as farther as I go. And one thing I didn't mention before, this is a fantastic solo game.
A lot of unique things which I truly love about it.
If you've played it, do you have the same issues we did? Like the movement part? Do you like the story part as much as this guy? And most importantly, check out our Patreon and consider supporting us. You've dug yourself a hole with those many reelies.
Yeah.
Now you have to count how many there are.
I always have to say how many reelies.
Yeah.